My god, this game is brilliant. Little Nightmares really knows how to do horror right. It's not just a game that relies on lame jump scares to scare you, although there are a few in here. The fear they use more so relies on a sense of dread, weakness, and oppression by making these big and vile monsters pitted against you while you're just a tiny little rat compared to them, never knowing what they're gonna do next. And yeah, like I said, there are a few jump scares, but they always feel earned. Like it wasn't a cop-out because they couldn't think of anything creative to scare me with. They usually end up complementing that dread and oppression, especially since they're so spaced out you never know when it's coming next. The part that makes the fear work so well is the gameplay. The reason it always feels so dreadful and makes you feel weak is because you really are. You don't get any weapons, you don't get to become some powerful badass taking out your enemies. You're just a kid with a lighter in your wits as you try to escape from wherever you're at because it's not really explained. It's hard to say what the plot is because it's all up to how you interpret it. There's no dialogue in this game because it doesn't need it. Just observing the world and its striking and unsettling imagery does all the talking you need. Even after beating it, you don't fully understand too much of what happened. You'd probably have to go in on multiple playthroughs to really understand the big picture. The only real complaints I had was at the beginning of the game. When you start out, it's just an empty hallway and there aren't really any directions to go. I was wandering aimlessly for like 2 minutes until I finally got the prompt to use my lighter, which I didn't even know I had. But I was stuck until they told me how to grab things, which is another thing I didn't know I could do manually. I don't know why, but the prompts tell you which button does what way too late. Which reminds me, I recommend playing this game on a controller. It just works way better than moving around with the keyboard and mouse. You could definitely tell the game wasn't designed with the keyboard and mouse in mind, and they just lazily slapped this together for the Steam release. The game is also short. Took me just over 3.5 hours to beat, but I'm fine with it. I just know it's gonna be a deal breaker for some. But honestly, besides those minor things, I didn't have a problem with anything in the game. Nothing felt too frustratingly hard. The horror element is perfect with an engaging atmosphere. The puzzles never interrupted the pacing, and if it did take you a while to figure out the puzzle, it was usually in a safe area where the game gave you a second to breathe, so it makes sense that these things would be slower. So with all things considered, this is probably one of the best horror games ever made. Was that a fart sound? That sounded like a fart, bro. Yeah, I don't know why, maybe I'm just being immature, but the death sound effect kinda sounds like a fart to me.